Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Relationship Mastery Series, Principles to a Passionate Life in Relationships and Dynamite Families. I'm Alan Darbonne, and I'm your host for the series, and I've gathered 25 wonderful experts from actually all over the world, and they're going to share their experience, their point of view, and help us all out in terms of how to find, how to co-create and heal relationships, and to have that passionate life and dynamite family that we all want and all deserve. And today I'm really excited to have on the program Adrienne Everheart. And welcome, Adrienne. It's so nice to have you.
Hi, Alan. I'm so pleased to be here.
And Adrienne is a certified relationship coach, and she teaches women how to speak and be irresistible to all men. Now that's a good one.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. We need that. She specializes in showing her clients how to call forth the partner that they were meant to be with. Her program, New Man Manifesto, is a 3-part process, and it helps to get you ready for your life partnership, marriage, and beyond. And there's some proven tools that she uses, and she'll be sharing with us today, and along with the law of attraction techniques. And she's also very gifted as a breakup reconnection guru and a master coach for the teacher, Rory Ray. And I know that Rory Ray thinks very highly of Adrienne, and her comment is that she can really turn things around for you. So another thing that Adrienne has done is she's the author of an ebook called 500 Ways to Speak to a Man, Scripting for Relationship Obstacles. Now that's a very valuable thing to have. So with no further ado, I want to welcome you. Oh, well, there is going to be a little further ado. I want to remind everyone that at the end of the interview, Adrienne is going to be offering a gift. So stick around and we'll tell you exactly how to link over to be able to get the free gift from Adrienne. And so again, welcome, Adrienne, and it's so good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the very warm greeting and opening. That was very nice.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Now, tell me to start with, how did you happen to get into this whole field of relationships and dating and this whole thing?
Oh, that's a great question. In short, there was something wrong with me.
Join the crowd.
Yeah. I knew there was something that I wasn't doing right. There was something about me that seemed broken. I didn't understand how I could be educated, have a good job and feel attractive. I'm in good shape, and I couldn't keep a partner. I couldn't keep the peace in my own household in a relationship. Relationship to me felt more like a war. The first 6 months would be blissful, but then it began to feel like war. And all I had seen around me growing up, unfortunately, were my parents that struggled with their own relationship. And the only couples I knew that things had really worked out for, they weren't even married. So I really didn't have that solid relationship role model, and I think most of us do not. And I've since then learned another way, and that way transformed my life. And once it transformed my life, that was it. I want to spend the rest of my life helping women be that 1% that are going to get it right, feel good, and have that loving, long-lasting relationship that they crave.
What a great mission.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you're doing that part on the planet.
Thank you. I enjoy it. It's what I love.
So tell me about your perspective on the energy dynamics between men and women.
Oh, absolutely. So There's been so many amazing advancements as far as women in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And women having equal rights and all of this power that we have as women.
Right.
And it's such a wonderful thing to have. In a relationship, though, that sometimes doesn't carry over well. Now, that doesn't mean you're a doormat. That doesn't mean that you have no voice or that you don't have boundaries or you have to be this perfect wife. It's absolutely not about that.
Right.
It's about being in your feminine energy. So we're in our feminine energy when we're just little girls and we're already experiencing it. But at some point, we found out it's better if we stuff our feelings down. We hide our feelings. Mm-hmm. We fight back the tears and we begin to think. So then that messes up our feminine energy. We become these thinking creatures instead of feeling and our feelings. And masculine energy is more of an energy of doing, of action, of making things happen. Mm-hmm. So when you have the feminine energy over here and the masculine energy over here, and both of you are doing, fixing, making things happen, you're going to clash. Mm. So the feminine energy is really more of a leaning back energy, being vulnerable, being open, all about your feelings. Masculine energy is about doing, pursuing the woman, solving problems. And when you can get that energy organized, straightened out, and leveled out in the relationship, and then at work or in the outside world, the woman can be in her boy energy. You make that shift, the effects it has in your relationship are amazing. Mm-hmm. Really transforms the relationship.
Yeah, I can certainly feel into that. And
yeah.
So how does this translate in terms of the difference in terms of how women actually talk to men and even nowadays text to men?
Oh, yes. So often women end up pursuing the man because we get into this place of anxiousness where we want to find out, is everything on track? Is everything working? Is everything in order with the relationship? Are you picking up the kids on time? Are you going to be there? Did you remember to stop at the grocery store? Did you remember your doctor's appointment? So the woman becomes in a place of over-functioning in the relationship. And when this happens, the man loses his masculine energy. The feminine energy becomes a masculine energy. You're doing, you're over-functioning, you're pushing your own feelings down. And this is sort of the tilting place where with text and reaching out to your man, you want to lean back and you want to hit the reset button on this energy dynamic. You want to give your man time and space to get activated into his masculine energy, to get curious about you again, to pursue you once again, and start sending you text. And then a lot of things like doctor's appointment, picking up the children, even loads of laundry sitting there in the house. You sometimes have to let these things work out on their own and tell your man, I trust you can take care of it. I trust you can figure it out. I trust you can solve it. Because when the woman jumps in and she starts saying, well, here's the solution, here's what you can do, and this laundry is still sitting here and no one's cleaning up, no one's picking it up, and who's going to pick up the kids? If you can phrase it in the form of, I feel how you're feeling about it, and then I don't want, which is what you don't want to have happen, or whatever you're feeling, and then what do you think? So that would go something like this. I feel really nervous about all the activities with the kids this week. I don't want to have to be driving everyone. What do you think? And so you present this to your husband and then you zip it. and you give your husband the opportunity, or your partner, the opportunity to solve the problem. So you can start with things like this to get him activated back into his masculine energy. And it can start with something as small as not initiating texting. And go through your history, read your text, find out how often you're telling him what to do or asking the innocent question to get him activated to do something. And you just want to change and lean back, allow him to be the man, solve these problems. You're going to feel so much more comfortable in your energy. You're not going to be as anxious. You're not going to be stuffing down your feelings. You're going to be in your body, and it's going to feel completely different.
Mm-hmm. That's a wonderful idea, is a drill to actually look at your own texts and kind of go back and look at them from that standpoint. How often are you giving orders?
Yeah.
How often are you presenting somebody who's in charge? And
it's not saying that the man always knows the right thing to do.
Right.
I mean, we let's face it. A lot of times, women, we actually know a better way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
We can do it better, quicker, faster. We're very smart creatures. However, it doesn't work in a relationship with a man.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want it to work, you have to let him be the man. You can always come in and set a boundary, you know,
Mm-hmm.
of course you can, but you want to give your husband, your partner, that opportunity to come forward and solve it. And if the man comes to you with a lot of different options and he doesn't know, it's okay to say, you know, honey, I trust that you can figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
I have faith in you that you can figure this out.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's your sense in terms of where it becomes joint problem solving, whereas a couple, they're working on a problem together? How do you see that working or not working in relationships?
Absolutely. So a lot of times couples aren't going to be on the same page with problem solving or how something should be solved.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's very important to let your man have the opportunity to present you with his solution.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times the women I work with, we're very angry. We're very angry. And whenever I pick up on anger or I see that happening a lot in a relationship, it's because you're out of control. You know, something feels out of control. If someone cuts you off in traffic, you get angry because they're not doing what you want them to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So often we have this great idea about how this should all work out. And this is a lovely thing to test in your relationship. And by test, I mean practice and experiment with. So when you allow your partner, when you allow the masculine energy to find the solution, even if it is something that you really do not believe will work, he feels good. He's allowed to be the man. And you can just lean back, physically lean back, drop your shoulders down, and let him get into that position of working it out. And if something doesn't feel right to you, you can use a feeling statement instead of saying, I don't like this, it's not going to work for me. This is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. You know, we've all said things like this, you know.
Sure.
And you can say, I'm not feeling confident. I'm feeling scared with this plan. And then stop. Mm-hmm. Men can really hear and understand in very short sentences. And they will actually hear your feelings better than if you feel like another masculine energy coming towards them. Mm-hmm. So you put two masculine energies together, and what do you get? Mm-hmm. You know, you can get some sort of competition. So that's why a lot of marriages end up feeling like we're competing. Are we enemies? Are we competing with one another? When you get to lean back, you get to be that feminine energy and let him solve it. But you can express yourself with feeling statements. I feel scared. I feel nervous. I feel worried. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Even if you're feeling doubtful, say, I'm feeling really doubtful about this. That, you know, if I'm gonna give it a try. Let's do this. And if your husband is listening to you, and even if he's not, he's hearing your feelings. Men really, there isn't a man I've ever met that doesn't get a great amount of satisfaction from making a woman happy. Oh, and yeah,
that's a common bit of knowledge around men. The issue sometimes becomes how do you do it, but there's a fact that if my woman's happy, I'm happy.
Yes.
I've heard that 1,000 times.
Absolutely. Men love to make their mother happy, their sister, their daughter, their wife. They love knowing that they're making us happy. So when he does do something right, the tiniest little kindness, hands you a napkin, opens the door for you, fills your car up with gas before you drive, whatever it is, let him know how wonderful it feels. Mm-hmm. Because so often the first thing we do is the man comes home and he goes, how was your day? And you say, well, I had to work late and I had to pick the kids up, and then I went to the grocery store, and we have this long list of what we did. Mm-hmm. Instead, I want you to say, oh, today I felt, and tell him how you felt. I felt so energized. I took a walk during lunch today, and it felt so good to get out in the sunshine. How are you? Mm-hmm. And now you're connecting with your husband in a new and powerful way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so relating that also to the whole thing in terms of when there's a problem is something that's much more integrative in terms of each bringing their own perspective to the problem, which makes it work out a lot better. I mean, we do better when we have a lot of women in the Senate, but it's
interesting
in the home. And so it's allowing each to have their perspective and then being heard, but not losing your perspective, that receptive aspect of the feminine.
Well, you bring up a good point. Not all men are activated in their masculine energy in the home. They are at work in their masculine energy, and then they come home and suddenly they don't know how to load a dishwasher. They don't know how to pack their suitcase. Everything they do is wrong. They can't go to the grocery store right. So
guilty.
Yeah,
something happens.
Well, and so it's this action, this slow process of they're losing that masculine energy and feeling competent at home. So this is where if the woman leans back at home and allows the man to be the man, yes, he's not going to load the dishwasher the way you want it. And he's not going to buy the right stuff at the grocery store. And that's okay. He does a million other things like no one else can. That's why you love him. That's why you're with him. That's why you've created a life with him. So this is what I encourage you to, women to do, is allow him the opportunity to solve a problem. Praise what is working with a positive feeling statement. And if you are in a situation where you really have to draw the line here, you have to draw a line in the sand, you have to set a boundary in place, make sure you're not doing it because you just want to control him and you just want him to be the way that you want him to be. We don't want robots. We want to give this man the opportunity. So I used to be quite a controlling person, and I felt that my ideas were the better ideas and that I knew the best way to do something. So Alan, when I started doing this and leaning back and nervously allowing the man to solve the problem, I got surprised. The first thing I felt was my anxiety level completely decreased. Wow. I was no longer having panic attacks because I wasn't over functioning. The next thing that happened is my man got activated into his masculine energy, which only got better. It improved more and more. The more my feminine energy became present in the relationship, the more he became a masculine energy role in the family. And I was surprised at how I would think that his way of doing something was just going to be a disaster. And it ended up being delightful. And this is where I tell everyone, get ready for surprises. When you do this work and you're leaning back and you're no longer over functioning, get ready for surprises to happen in your life.
Great, wonderful surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were mentioning something, and the carryover in the family, when I've witnessed this kind of thing, is just enormous in terms of what the kids really pick up when they notice both the active and the receptive in the relationship and the love that flows between their parents, that ends up feeding into a great deal of self-esteem in the children that are there. Plus the things that you're mentioning, acknowledging those little things and appreciating those little things, 1,000 little things, instead of picking up on every time something went wrong, because the kids are following that. They will mimic that. I mean, the brains are sort of programmed to do that. They will. So the best thing you can do for your kids is really discover how to deeply love your partner.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. It's so true. And children do pick up on this so quickly, and it's a wonderful tool to teach your daughters, because we as women are these strong, powerful, dynamite creatures. We can do a lot, but we're also exhausted and anxious and unable to sleep and overeating to compensate for anxiety and things like this. And if we can just lean back and let the man have his role. And a lot of women say, well, he's not going to do it. I would wait for forever to him to do it. Then I want you to let the laundry pile up. Yeah, I want you to give him that opportunity, because the reason he's avoiding this is he's avoiding pain. He's avoiding a situation where he feels that you, this woman, this barefoot running in the park girl that he fell in love with, you have changed. You have become his instructor and his guide and his coach and his advisor, and he doesn't want that. He wants you to be that wonderful, beautiful woman he fell in love with so long ago. You see, and so the best advice I can give a woman in that situation is, a man is always trying to get a need met. And if you can look for that, whether he's sat down on the sofa watching endless hours of sports, or he's avoiding doing chores around the house, he's always trying to get a need met. And ask yourself, what need is it he's trying to get met? If he's watching hours of sports on television, he might be completely stressed out at work. And he needs a way to relax. So this helps you build compassion for your partner. And once you get that, and you get away from like, you should be doing these things, and you get compassion for your partner, this other part of you kicks in, this feminine energy kicks in, and you become so good at connecting with his heart. And let me tell you, once you connect to his heart, once you can express your feelings without blaming him, coaching him, criticizing him, or warning him, once you can connect to his heart that way, he'll do anything for you. He'll do a honey-do list that's 10 pages long, because he wants to see you happy.
Yeah, that's right on. And having that recognition of the clarity of the woman expressing what it is she does want, but expressing it in a feeling way so it connects with the man, that's tremendously important. Now, what about situations where the husband is yelling and arguing and bordering on abusing the relationship in a sense? What do you suggest for women in that kind of thing?
Oh, such a good question. So I always tell women that a man will only treat you as badly as you allow him. Even the best guy in the world will test his boundaries. Don't forget, we are spiritual beings in these physical bodies. We do have these relatively animal brains, and we will test boundaries. We will power struggle. We'll see how far we can get, and we also get frustrated and have our own pain. And so if a man is doing this in the relationship, the first thing you want to do is he's not getting heard. He's not being heard. And if you can sit there somehow and just nod and and listen to him until he stops. That's something, if all of you can practice that at some point, he's going to feel listened to and heard without jumping in to criticize, without jumping in to do something or make something happen in what he's saying. Just and listen to him with your whole body. The other thing, if a man is feeling really threatening and he's yelling and you feel scared, if you feel scared, I want you to say, I'm feeling so scared.
Yeah.
This volume is scaring me. I feel so much anger coming at me. And a technique I use with that is drop the word you. If you say, you're yelling, you're scaring me, versus I feel scared right now. I'm shaking. I feel my tummy's in my throat. I don't feel good speaking like this. If you take the word you out of that, it takes him off the defensive. Now, if you can imagine saying that to your man and him not beginning to soften because your tummy is sitting in your throat, because you're feeling like you're going to have to run to the bathroom or you're scared. If a man doesn't begin to soften, that's usually a different situation. That goes much deeper. But I want you to try this first before you leave. I tell everyone, there's 3 things you can do. You can leave. You can always leave. At any time you decide to, you can leave. You can stuff your feelings down and keep enduring more of the same. Or you can do the third way. And the third way would be shift how you're reacting, get into your body, get into your feeling statements, and give that a try. Being your authentic, honest self. So often a man will say, well, how are you doing? And we'll go, fine, I'm fine. And he knows we're not fine. and a man can't connect to your heart if you're lying to him. If you're hiding your truth, if you're hiding your heart from him, how can he connect to you and really trust you to open up and share his feelings? And that's what he really wants. He wants to be able to have that soft, beautiful, wonderful world with you where he feels safe and not judged and ridiculed and coached from all directions. He wants to feel that safe warmth with you.
Yeah. Very, very true. And that whole thing in terms of sensitivity too, when you were describing about really listening and saying instead of having to step up and solve the problem and do the thing that men have been doing too much of. And but to be sure that when you say you actually are in the position of opening your heart to listen. Whether you agree or not, at least you're letting it in. And the man knows that. He will, as you say, he will pick up whether you're really saying because you're trying to get deeper with him, or you're saying because I've heard it before and I'm not listening anymore.
Oh, Alan, you bring up such a great point. Men are such perceptive, sensitive creatures. It's amazing. We think of women, as we're very feeling and perceptive. Men are incredibly sensitive and perceptive. And even though their exteriors are hard and tough, that's what they're built for. They're here to protect, again, let's go back to a simpler time. They're here to protect and be that protector and be that strong force at the front of the family. The woman, however, you are the soft, feminine feeling creature. And I encourage you to soften your outside, but on the inside, become strong and rock hard. You see, instead of being so hard on the outside, which is unattractive to a man, be soft. Be soft. That invites him your way. That makes you irresistible. That is the man who wants to spend time around that soft feeling woman he can't get enough of. And this is a lot of times the reason men seek out another woman in their relationship, because they're no longer getting that soft, warm, listening connection that they used to have. They go find it with another woman. They could find another woman who will listen to them with softness.
Right. It's a very, very good point. And along these lines, what about a relationship that has been close, but then for some reason or other, they begin to drift apart and lose that connection? What kind of suggestions do you have for a couple that's experiencing that kind of thing?
A great question. So often, women and men, we get into a routine.
Mm-hmm.
We get into a routine. We're communicating via text during the day. We're just stuck in this routine. So that's where you want to start, is change up your routine. When you can get a man curious about you again, and he's curious about what you're doing, what's going on in your life, when you peel all of your energy off that man and you're out of his world, you're not controlling him, you're not in his world, you're not in his head, you're in your world. You're in your head, and you're doing all the things. You're taking a belly dancing class. You're taking a painting class. You're reading new books. You're changing your schedule. You're coming home from work, and you're doing something different. You know, you're changing everything. Change the ringtone on your phone. Get some highlights in your hair. Change your hair. Start wearing different colors. Wear different makeup. Change yourself. So men crave constant sexual variety, and that can come in all sorts of different forms. So when you're changing up on him, that's going to pique his curiosity in all sorts of ways. Even if you're wearing a new dress and it's in a new color and your hair is up instead of being down, men will see that in a very different way. We think, well, I'm just putting my hair up. A man sees it very differently. He sees it and feels it very differently. So you start by getting him activated and curious about you. Curiosity is a very strong thing. So when it feels routine and you feel like you're in a rut, the relationship's lost that curiosity. So change up your routine, do some new and different things, and also be warm. Be warm to your partner. You know, we're together for so long with our partners. We can just go kind of, lukewarm and forget to tell him how wonderful his arms feel around you at the end of the day, or how nice the hair on his chest feels against your face. You know, we lose these things, or how wonderful it feels to cuddle up with him. And so we stop praising the wonderful things we love about our partners. And so often, Alan, women come to me where it's just too late. It's too late, and the man is out of their life, and all the wonderful things that they took for granted, they are now just deeply, deeply grieving. So don't let that happen to you. Look at your husband with love, with compassion, and find out, try to remember, if you have to, what you fell in love with him, and love him the way he shows up, just the way he is. If you really want to destroy your relationship, the best thing you can do is get your partner to do something, change something in a way that they can't or they don't want to. Surefire way to end things is get them to change or do things in a way that they cannot or don't want to. And so this goes back to just compassion and loving them as they show up. So change your routine, new colors, new hair, new classes, have new and fresh and exciting things to talk about. And I always tell a lot of women, if you can, take a little weekend trip every now and again, you and a girlfriend, or even by yourself, get away. Let him know what it's like to miss you a little bit. Go away for a weekend or so.
Yeah, and as a man, I really recognize that, and it's important also that women realize that initially when you do this, it gets a little disorienting for a man. So he will want to kind of exercise some control, and either through asking questions or by somehow limiting that. But if you recognize that, you've probably been giving up a lot of who you really are, and the things that you love to do, and the things that excite you. And so it's important to include those in your life. And believe me, very shortly, the man realizes the difference between something being a threat and something being exciting. And we know now that the brain actually lights up differently.
It absolutely does,
You come home and, my gosh, that hairdo is really different, And the excitement begins to stir in the man. And yeah, I couldn't encourage that more. I mean, there's a lot of that that's true for men also, but at the same time, in that energetic, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, for a man, that definitely will draw them closer to you rather than further away. If you get into the situation where the man can't handle that and really wants you to not be who you are, then again, you're dealing with a different thing, and you really need to get some professional help around that.
But even
that
then,
usually isn't the case.
yeah, even then you can still use these tools and come at him with real genuine curiosity. You know, I'm feeling a little lost here, and I'm curious, how does this feel to you? Or I'm feeling a little trapped these days, I'm curious, how does this feel to you?
Right.
And get him to open up with total curiosity about how this feels in the relationship to him. And I have to tell you, if your man protests that you're going away for the weekend or you're doing stuff on your own, you have a guy who really, really loves you.
Right.
He really, really loves you, because he, he's sensing that something's changing, and he absolutely wants to jump in. And that's where you want to be warm, and you want to just say, "Oh, that's so sweet." And I feel so excited about my class, and it's okay, I understand. And you can say, you're so the guy for me, and you're my forever guy. And anyway, I'm off to a meditation class. Bye.
Yeah, that's all a guy needs to hear, and his heart will definitely warm. Yeah. Listen, I'm realizing the time. My gosh, it's flying by. I knew that it would. And is there any last tip you'd like to offer the audience in terms of sustaining this kind of love and relationship in a long-term kind of way?
Absolutely. My final tip would be your body posture. And it's really difficult to get into your body and find your feelings. I'm speaking these feeling statements like they're very, very easy to say, but women have a difficult time getting authentically into their body and not just pulling a word out of your mouth. So this gets a little bit easier when you use this body posture called dancer's pose. And all you want to do is your shoulders, you want to drop them down. You want to physically lean back. You want to take a couple of breaths. Allow your abdomen to soften and widen, particularly the vagina area. This is where a woman receives. This is a place of receiving energy from a man. And allow yourself to be in that very open, vulnerable place. And it will become so much easier to speak. You can even see on camera a softening when I lean back and I'm in that pose.
Absolutely.
And I'm not up here in my boy energy. I'm back here.
Yeah, that is so much I'm not in the office posture.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing you're recommending, because that is something that you can do very rapidly and create a big shift in your whole energy and how it's flowing between you and your partner.
Yeah, your man will just instantly relax around you and not be uptight, like he's got to be doing something. He doesn't know what it is, but he can just be who he is, and you'll love and accept him however he shows up.
Yeah. Great. So thanks, Adrienne. That's a great last tip, and all the tips that you've given have been very valuable. And before we wind up, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about what your gift is. And for everyone that's viewing, remember, right after the interview, there will be a link, and you can click on that link, and it will actually take you to where you can get her nice gift for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's at everheartcoaching.com/gift. And it is a book that has a good amount of text and emails and replies and what I call scripts that you can use in everyday situations to help you connect more deeply to your man's heart and rebuild this relationship or build that loving relationship that you've always wanted. So that'll help you get started with that process.
Well, that's wonderful and great gift. Now, is that from your ebook?
Yeah, it's actually a sample from my ebook. And so they're actually not in my ebook. Everything in my ebook's original, and everything in this book is separate. But it'll get you started. It'll get you in the right direction.
Great.
Get you on the right track.
Okay, that's what we want.
Absolutely. Turn it around quickly.
So I want to thank our audience for being with us today. And again, thank you, Adrienne. And
you're so welcome.
Continue to do your good work out there. Again, the planet can use as much of that as possible. And so in closing today, I'm Alan Darbonne, and I want to remind everyone that the planet really needs your particular love and your particular light to heal and to be complete. So please bring your kindness and share your truth. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.